This season, the Southern League Premier Division Central promises to be one of the most competitive leagues in the country. So much so that I'm going to be visiting all 22 grounds and ranking them out of 40 points based on a number of factors which I'll go into more detail about later in this video. So far, I've visited 13 of the 22, with Worcester City's impressive six-way stadium leading the way with 33 points, and Bromsgrove Sporting's Victoria ground in second place with 31. How would ground number 14 compare to the other 13? Well, to find out, I had to make the long journey down to Suffolk.
Episode 14 of my Southern League Premier Division Central series comes from Bloomfields, the home of Needham Market, and today's game is third place Needham Market against fourth place Quorn. I think everyone expected Needham Market to be up there in amongst the playoff places at the start of the season, but who would have predicted that Quorn would be right in amongst that playoff race as well? Let me know in the comments if you've been to Bloomfields before, and enjoy the matchday vlog.
Thankfully, I didn't have to drive though, as Quorn's secretary Adam invited me to travel down with them on the coach, so I just had to make the short trip over to Farley Way. That saved me some serious mileage on my car. Needham Market's Bloomfields home is one of the bigger grounds in this division with a capacity of 3,000, though some other sources do claim it's 4,000. Bloomfields has seating for over 300 across its main stand and Les Ward stands, and the stadium has a large covered terrace on its near side and covered standing room along the touchline next to the dugouts, so offers plenty of shelter from the weather. Bloomfields has an artificial training pitch next to the main playing surface which the reserves and youth teams use, with a bar and upstairs cafe also on site. As I travelled down with Quorn, I got there even earlier than I'd normally arrive, which gave me plenty of time to have a walk around and check out the facilities. I got myself this Needham Market pin from the club shop and had a sausage bap from the food kiosk. I didn't have my usual cheeseburger as I knew I was being fed in the boardroom before kick-off, but I was starving when I got off the bus, so consider that a starter. I wasn't massively impressed with the bap, but the pre-match food upstairs was very good. It was a jacket potato with the tastiest apple pie for dessert, but that gives me a dilemma. How do I rank Needham Market's food? Do I base it off the kiosk or the boardroom, or do I combine the two? You can find out later on in this video. Going into Saturday's game, Needham Market were third in the table, and with Spalding United and Harbour Town starting to open up a bit of a gap, they can consider themselves the best of the rest, while Quorn were just a point behind them in fourth. I think most people expected Needham Market to be in amongst the playoff race this season, but Quorn's start to life at step 3 has been nothing short of exceptional. There were 2 leagues separating these teams last season. I stood on the balcony next to the cafe for the first half, and it's Needham Market in red with Quorn in blue.
I think it's one of the subs.
And what a start this is from Quorn.
Good goal.
After going ahead early on, Quorn had to deal with plenty of attacks from the home side, but they always looked dangerous on the break. And right before half time, they were given a gift.
Yeah!
Well played, Quorn.
Half-time, Needham Market 0, Quorn 2, and that was a case of one team taking their chances while the other simply couldn't find a way through, and that second goal really came against the run of play. Needham Market looked even more dangerous in the second half, especially with the introduction of Luke Ingram, but again they couldn't find a way through. I missed Simeon Caborn's goal as it seemed to happen so fast, but Quorn once again take advantage on the break and totally against the run of play.
Great save.
What a save this is from Adam Harrison in the Quorn goal.
Great save.
And this one is even better.
Although they've had chances.
Final score, Needham Market 0, Quorn 3, in a game that didn't really look like a 3-0 scoreline. What a defensive display that is from the visitors. Needham Market understandably frustrated. I spoke to both managers after the game, as well as a couple of players, to give their thoughts.
I'm joined by Needham Market manager Tom Rothery. Needham Market 0, Quorn 3. What were your thoughts on that game?
Just disappointing, really. Credit to them. I thought they managed the game really well. Got an early goal and then sat behind the ball. We changed shape. I didn't think we started really well, changed shape. I thought we were really on top and then give a really poor sucker punch goal away for the second goal. And then again, second half, we came out and thought, again, we dominated possession, but again, got hit on the break again. So it's kind of an ongoing theme there, as you can guess. But yeah, just frustrating, really. I thought that's what I just said to the players. Possession-wise, we had lots of possession, but that doesn't entitle you to win the game. You've got to defend moments better. I didn't think they had lots of chances, but they were clinical when they took it. When they had them, they took them. And the flip side is when we had chances, we weren't. And yeah, that's kind of the story of the game, really.
And the Quorn goalkeepers made two fantastic saves in the second half, which I think could probably brought you back into the game as well. You've had plenty of chances in the second half, but like you said, I think Quorn had one chance in the second half and put it away.
I think, to be fair, the saves that he's made, it's at 3-0, so I don't think it really impacts or affects the game. Obviously, it'd have been nice to get a goal or two back to see whether you could then get back in the game. But I think, like I said, the second goal, the first goal comes from us being really poor from a restart. So, and again, like I said, credit to them. They were clinical. I can't remember many chances, really, probably other than the 3 goals they scored. So they didn't have a host of chances, but what they did, they were clinical when they had chances. And the flip side of that is they managed the game really well. Their shape was good. They made it hard for us to break them down. And then the moments when we did break them down, especially in the second half, at 2-0 and 3-0, we weren't clinical enough. Obviously, the keeper's made a couple of good saves as well, so fair play to him. But we weren't clinical enough, and ultimately, like I said, off the back of that, possession doesn't mean anything if you're not going to take chances that you do create. And then the flip side of that is if you're not going to defend their moments better, and we didn't do either of those things well enough today.
I think it's one of those games you've gone in at half-time 2-0 down. In the second half, right at the start, you look very lively. I think a goal at 2-0 makes it a completely different game. And bringing on Ingram up front seemed to change the game. And you had plenty of chances early on. And then obviously the third goal's kind of killed it as a contest, really. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, we've got a couple of injuries at the moment. We haven't got the biggest squad, so we've got a couple of injuries. We're missing them. Dan and Joe are both important players, like everyone is. We've only got a squad of 16, so, and then we're taking from the academy. So yeah, it's tough when anyone's out, really. But those two are out, and then Luke Ingram's not fully fit, so that's why he's not starting. So it's tough, yeah. And then like you said, like I said, the second goal just before half time really was a bit of a sucker punch, but I thought we reacted to that well, came out second half and and got on the front foot. But yeah, again, as much as saying that, you then can't defend the moment that we did. Again, fair play to them. It's a good finish, but he's got time 8 yards from goal. So I'd expect players at this level to be able to finish those situations, which he did. So from our point of view, like I said, it's kind of summed up the game really there. The third goal at 15, 20 minutes into the second half, then just completely kills the game. Whereas I think if we could have got one back at 2-0, you're always hoping that the great comebacks on, and with the possession that we had, you could believe that could happen. But yeah, the third goal sort of ends that. And like I said, after that, we've huffed and puffed and created things, but it's all a little too late really.
I've just spoken to Ryan as well, and I don't think anyone, even the Quorn players and managers, I don't think anyone sees that as a 3-0 game. And obviously they've just said that that's one of the best teams they've played this season, and they've come away with a 3-0 win. So
that's kind of what I said to the lads. It's a little bit of a frustration for me really. It's nice to hear, and it's Ryan's a good lad, so it shows that he's he understands football and he's respectful. So that's nice. It is nice to hear, but doesn't mean anything. It shows that we're probably not far away from where I want us to be, but we're still not quite there yet, because I think in most of the games we have a lot of possession. We just need to manage moments better, whether that be in their box or in our box. And at the moment it's hurting us a little bit, but that's what I've tried to say to the players really. As much as people can walk away and be frustrated and annoyed, the same as I am, you've also got to keep perspective of it. And the home record's still one of the best in the league. We're still in 4th place. Look, we're not where we want to be. We're not the finished article, but that's football, and that's do you ever become the finished article? But yeah, look, it is nice to hear, but it's not what I want to hear really. Sometimes you want to hear you're a bang average side, but you've just nicked a 2-1 win, and I don't think we do that enough really. And that's the challenge that I'll put to the players really. For as much as dominating possession is brilliant, and I want us to do that, we've got to win games as well. And look, we've done that enough times this season, but I want us to do that more consistently, and off the back of possession that we do get in games, we should, in my opinion. But like I said, I knew that. I've watched them enough times to know what they're about. They're a good side. They've got a lot of threats, and and like I said, their structure was really good, and they made it hard for us to break them down. And the flip side, they carried a threat, and from their point of view, that's a perfect away performance really. Defend well and carry a threat on the break, which obviously they've done that really well today.
Thanks for coming on again, Tom, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Needham Market 0, Quorn 3. What were your thoughts on that game?
We knew what we was up against before the game, and we've had to do a lot of the ugly side of football today to get a result against these, because these are a proper outfit, proper team, move the ball unbelievably well, drag you into areas you don't want to go to, and they can play freer at will, and got some really good players, really well coached. Delighted with the win, obviously, because this time last year there's 2 leagues separated us, so it's massive for us, massive step, massive statement, and an unbelievable shift from all the boys.
Yeah, Needham Market, a very attacking side, attack-minded team, but you've managed to keep a clean sheet. There's some great saves from Adam in that second half particularly.
Yeah, exactly, and we knew we'd need everyone to do the ugly side of it and to try and defend our box, because we probably defended our box for 90 odd minutes today. And when you've got a keeper like him who makes saves and brings calm, even his kicking, it was just on the money today and got us up the pitch time and time again. So we're very lucky to have him, and yeah, long may it continue that we get a clean sheet, because I can't remember the last time we got one. I said it before the game and I still can't remember what the last game was. So it's nice to have. I know we've scored a lot of goals, but you don't really win or do well in leagues over the course of a season by just scoring goals. You have to do the ugly side and defensive side, and clean sheets are massive for us.
And I asked you at the start of the season, your goal was to stay in the league. I asked you a couple of weeks ago, the goal is still to stay in the league, but looking at the table, you're now sat 3rd behind Harbour Town and Spalding.
How many points above relegation are we?
Quite a long way, I think it's about.
That's the main thing. That is the main thing. Don't try and
look
change.
to the bottom.
We are still after 50 points. You can't change it. I did say a few weeks ago to you that once we get to 50, then we'll reevaluate and set a new target, because I do think targets are quite important. But we're on 30 something now, so yeah, to get to 50 is still the first target, and then from there we'll we'll play it by ear. But we're delighted so far, and third's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, for these boys, for what they do for each other, is crazy, really. And the day we've had and the journey we're about to have, I'm sure you probably might get your video out for the journey home, because we do like a fun bus on the way home, so there'll be plenty of booze flying about on that coach. And yeah, they fully deserve their pint, and that's what I said before to the boys, like, these are going to make you work today, these are going to make you earn it, and enjoy it, because when you go in the bar and we'll go and have a pint after, it's a nice feeling to feel like you've earned your beer, and they have fully earned their pints, like they're in there now drinking, and full testament to them. They all deserve it, and hopefully they have a few more.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on again, Ryan, and congratulations on the win today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Got Mason and Deen from Quorn after they've just beaten Needham Market 3-0. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, really delighted. It's a proper tough place to come. Even in previous years when we always come here, they're a really good outfit, and they always put everything on the line. But I think we were really good today. Done what we had to, and then that was it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's, proper performance away from home, I think. We're always chopping and changing how we play. Like I say, that's a bit different how we'd like to be on the ball, but off the ball, I don't think you can get much better, to be honest. Limited them to very little wide crosses and stuff like that, so it was good. Really happy, and Suffolk again and another win, so happy on the road, really.
And Needham Market are one of the more attacking sides in the league. They nearly always find a way to score, but you've managed to keep a clean sheet against them. How important is that to get another clean sheet on the board?
Yeah, we knew that before we came, and we said, didn't we? We're due a clean sheet, and it's going to be one of them games today where it's either going to be a 6-goal, 7-goal, or we can stay really solid defensively and shut up shop and try and get them on the counter.
Yeah, it's pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like I say, we have shut up shop today. Obviously, the one at the end where Adam's down in the bog, obviously
That's a great save.
He's just kicked it on the line, and it's one of them. But I can't. He was trying to play through us, was making him go around. So, like I say, just really good day, really good performance, and proud of the boys.
And I need to comment on the 2 saves that Adam made. There's the one you've just commented on. There's also the free kick as well, where you could see that flying into the top corner, and somehow Adam's got across and got that.
Yeah, like I say, he's been class since he's been here.
Yeah,
His kicking's brilliant, his talking's good, and to be honest with you, we were saying if he stood in the goal mouth, he wouldn't have been able to move his feet, so he's had to stand on the line. That's why I think he'd have got there comfortably if it was a normal goal mouth, but it was just full of sand and real wet. So yeah, he's been top at him, and hopefully that starts us on a little clean sheet run now.
I have made a few saves like that in training as well.
And it's the next one is another tough one. It doesn't really get any easier in this league, does it, with Redditch United just behind you in the league? What are your thoughts going into that one?
I think same as always, really. Just try and be the best we can be, and take it every game as they come.
And like I say, after hitting a bit of a sticky patch in the middle of November, we've that 3 wins on the trot now. So like I say, we know if we get it right, we can compete. Well, we can compete with anybody in the league, but when we get it right, then we're a real solid outfit at this level. And like I say, we just want to keep going, and I believe that's the halfway point in the season now. So we're happy with the return, and like I say, we want to just keep winning, keep doing well. So
brilliant. Thank you both for coming on, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
That was a long day. I left the house at 9 a.m. this morning, got back just before 10 p.m. But I think for the rest of this series, I'm going to have to get used to these long trips, because the 8 remaining grounds are all roughly similar distance to Needham Market. I think Leiston is the exception, which is over 3 hours from my place in Nottingham. What a performance from Quorn today, though. Needham Market started the day 3rd, with Quorn just behind them in 4th. One of the more attack-minded sides in the league, Needham Market. They've just started to hit form. Quorn, I think I knew they were going to be better than a lot of people gave them credit for. I didn't anticipate just how well they were going to start the season. We're roughly halfway through the season now, and Quorn are in 3rd place behind Harbour Town. I know the top 2 are quite far clear. I don't think that was a 3-0 game today. I think Tom Rothery was right to be frustrated with that performance. Needham Market created so many chances, and the only time they had the ball in the net was offside anyway. Adam Harrison did make some very good saves in the Quorn goal, but Quorn were clinical in front of goal. They had far less chances than Needham Market did, and they've scored 3 goals. I think they had 1 chance in the second half and they put it away. Needham Market carved out plenty of chances in the second half. But it was a solid defensive display, as you heard Ryan say in his post-match interview. And what a fantastic 3 points that is for Quorn. The most important thing about this trip, though, was to rank the stadium at Bloomfields. And I did like this one, but where is it going to rank amongst the rest of the league? Before I jump into these rankings, let's take a look at what that result does to the league table. Ryan Beswick is still adamant that staying up is Quorn's ambition, but they sit 3rd in the table with Needham Market 2 points back in 4th. With Rail Bedford, Hales Owen and Redditch United all having games in hand, this could all change very quickly though. As I keep saying, this is one of the most competitive leagues in the country. On to these rankings then. I'm ranking each club out of 5 points for their atmosphere, playing surface, food, facilities, view and accessibility, with a further 10 points on offer for my matchday experience overall, meaning each club is being scored out of a total of 40 points. After seeing more than half of the league, we have Worcester City's Sixways Stadium in the lead with 33 points, and Bromsgrove Sporting in second with 31. Could Needham Market break into that cluster of teams around the top of the table? I really did like Bloomfields, and let's not forget it was a National League North ground last season, so let's start with the atmosphere. Despite the football club being in Step 2 last season, Needham Market is a small market town with a population of around 5,000. And with Quorn being a village club themselves, Bloomfields saw one of its lowest attendances of the season. And as a result, there wasn't a great deal in the way of atmosphere. There was a bit of noise coming from the home crowd as they tried to reduce the deficit in the second half, but I really have to be generous in order to give them any sort of score here, so it's 2 out of 5. Regarding the playing surface, I will be a little more generous, as like with my last episode at Bromsgrove Sporting, there was a pitch inspection pre-match as there'd been a lot of rain in the area. The pitch did start to cut up in the later stages of the game, but generally it held up well, apart from the goal mouths, which looked horrendous. Had the pitch been in this state at the beginning of the season, I would have marked it right down, but seeing as we're in early December and the weather's been atrocious, I'm going to give credit to Needham Market's groundsman here and give them 3.5. The next category is the food, and despite being served a pre-match meal in the boardroom, I did also sample their food at the main kiosk as I was starving on arrival. Just to clarify this, I won't be ranking them based on the food I had in the boardroom, as that would give them an unfair advantage, seeing as I'm not eating with the club executives at every ground I go to. So, let's talk about the food I had beforehand. Let's call it a starter. And no, for once I didn't have a cheeseburger. Knowing I was going to be eating a proper meal, I chose to have something lighter, so I went for this sausage bat, which was pre-cooked. I paid, and within seconds my food was in my hand, which is a great service, but it did mean the food wasn't served massively hot, and that bun was quite dry. The jacket potato and apple pie in the boardroom was excellent, but sadly I didn't rate Needham Market's food otherwise, so they get a 2.5 out of 5. What about the facilities? Well, Bloomfields was a National League North ground as recently as last season, so it does score well in this category. It has a cafe overlooking the pitch as well as a large bar next to the main stand with plenty of seating, and even has an artificial training pitch next door. I must add that everything is so well maintained, and whoever looks after the facilities clearly has really high standards, so they get a solid 4 out of 5. View-wise, Needham Market scores well too. I like an elevated view of the pitch, and the main stand offers that, but you can also sit or stand close to the pitch should you choose to, with plenty of shelter from the weather at each end of the ground. And Bloomfields has very little in the way of obstruction no matter where you choose to watch the game from. So I feel like it's right up there at the top of the table in this department, 4.5 out of 5. Accessibility wise, I'm not just talking about disabled access, but how easy these stadiums are to get to and move around in while you're there. This is one of the few grounds that I didn't drive to as I came on the bus, but with Bloomfield's location within a housing estate right in the middle of the town, it makes it easy to get to. The football club do have a small car park on site with limited spaces, but even on busy match days there are no issues, as you can park on the streets around the stadium, which are just a short walk away. In terms of disabled access, Bloomfields again scores towards the top end, as even the terraces behind the goals are accessible via the ramps, and there are walkways expanding nearly the whole way around the pitch, with the only obstruction being in the tight space between the gantry and dugouts. I'm giving Needham Market an impressive 4.5 out of 5. What about the overall matchday experience then? Well, this is arguably the most important section as it's worth 10 points, and that's my matchday experience overall. Needham Market offers an excellent matchday experience and have easily one of the better stadiums in this division, which is hardly surprising as I keep saying, they spent a season in Step 2 as recently as last year. As with all the other village clubs I've come across, the market men are extremely friendly and welcoming. Their matchday experience is very good. I liked Bloomfields and the game was really well contested despite the one-sided scoreline. Needham Market get a solid 7 out of 10. What does that do to the league table then? Can they trouble the top 4? It's close, but not close enough as far as the top 4 are concerned, as Needham Market scored a total of 28 points, leaving them just half a point behind Harborough and Spalding and into 7th place. What do you think though? Should Needham Market have scored higher, or did I overscore them? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Next up for me is a bit of a jump up the football ladder as I head over to one of my favourite League 2 grounds, as I'm at Meadow Lane, the home of Notts County, as they play promotion rivals MK Dons under the lights. Thanks for watching, and you can see the rest of my Southern League series on screen right now to see why I've given Worcester City that top spot.
Oh no, look at the empty cans of beer and gin.
Thank you.
Well in, Jim.
Do-do-do-do-do.